Meantime, Republicans in Congress are considering banning the use of so-called bump stocks. Those are the aftermarket devices that basically turn a semi-automatic weapon into an automatic one. The last Las Vegas shooter used them on his rifles, allowing him to kill dozens of people and injure hundreds more in a matter of 10 minutes.
Use them, say it doesn't make their weapon into an automatic weapon. They can pull the trigger one time, hold it down, and it continuously fires rapidly after that. That mimics an automatic weapon, which we as Americans said decades ago that we will not allow for civilian use. So that's already a settled issue in American law. The issue is this an exception in the process? Is this something that needs to be confronted and changed? Those are all questions that are reasonable questions after an event like this, and quite frankly, were reasonable questions in 2010 to be able to ask as well before they even came on the market.
That's James Lankford, Republican senator from Oklahoma, saying maybe it's time to take a look at bump stocks. For more, let's bring in former Deputy Assistant to President George W. Bush, Brad Blakeman, and Isaac Wright, former Executive Director of Correct the Record Super PAC, the principal pro-Clinton Super PAC in last year's election. Brad, is it time? I mean, will this Republican Congress consider banning bump stocks?
I think it's absolutely time. Like any other regulation of any product in America, we should absolutely look back from time to time to make sure that our laws are consistent with public policy. And we have to remind our viewers that in 2010, President Obama, with his ATF, deemed that the bump stock was an accessory to a gun. It did not modify a gun. We know now that that's not true, that the bump stock can modify a semi-automatic to make it mimic an automatic weapon, which is illegal in America. So it makes perfect sense to do it. I'm all for it. We should have the debate. And if the law needs to be changed or regulations, let's do it.
Isaac, I assume that if Republicans are on board, Democrats are as well.
I think it's time that we fix the bump stock exception. I think Blake and I can agree on that. I do think, bless his heart, he has a little misunderstanding on both the law and on the technicality of how the technology works here. The law that we have that bans automatic weapons addresses springs in the action and the mechanics. The way an action, I'm a gun owner and a hunter myself, the way the action on a semi-automatic weapon works is that the recoil, the combustion operates the slide. That's what brings up the next chamber. This does not alter the mechanisms, which is what the ATF said correctly. This does not fall under the current law. This is an exception by altering the slide length so that instead the combustion bumps the slide back and forth to make it an automatic weapon. There's not a law to address this. That's why we need one. This is a way that a manufacturer found to circumvent and make an end run around the existing laws that ban automatic weapons.
But on that score, Isaac, I mean, you're a gun owner, you know, it's a pretty simple design. Anybody who has these kinds of weapons and wants to build their own at-home bump stock can pretty much do it themselves. How do you legislate against that?
So it's actually not that easy to build a stock alteration like that. This is what's required of a kit and something to be manufactured. This is something we can regulate. We just have to update the laws to match the technology. This should not be a hard challenge. This is something Congress, if it has the will, can do.
And Brad, you welcome that debate?
I welcome the debate, but the Obama administration certainly could have done this themselves in 2010. They chose not to. I disagree with Isaac. Certainly, the bump stock is not an accessory item. By his own admission, it modifies the operation of the gun to do something that the manufacturer did not intend to do, and certainly the law didn't intend. So Obama dropped the ball, and then in 2012, after Sandy Hook, they could have again revisited this item. They did not do it. Unfortunately, it takes a tragedy for us now to revisit this item and make sure that the American people are kept safe or safer than they were prior to the bump stocks being used in an illegal manner.
It comes.
Blake and I agree.